Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. I'm going to start with LSU scrimmage on Saturday inside Tiger Stadium. I would say Saturday morning because we had written on our sheets 10 o'clock, but that would be a little disingenuous. I knew there was a bit of an issue when we pulled into the parking lot of Tiger Stadium at about 9:50 for what I thought was a 10 o'clock scrimmage. I see the entire media assembled right outside the media gate where we were told to be at 10 o'clock. And we're standing there, and there's Scott Rabelais, and there's Matt Moscona, and I'm standing next to Jimmy Ott. And the whole crew that you know that covers the team is there. And all of a sudden I look over in the parking lot, and I don't know the players' faces these days like I used to when I interviewed them twice a week. But you start to see 3 players walking over from the practice facility in shorts and a T-shirt. And then you see 6 more players kind of walking over. And then you see Brian Kelly walking over and Matt House walking over. And all of a sudden I realize it is now 10 o'clock when we were told that that's when the scrimmage was. And this team is not even anywhere near ready to play football. Nobody's dressed. Half the team's not even in the stadium yet. So we were going to have a little bit of day on our hands. I thought the scrimmage was going to start at 10. I told my wife I'd be home around noon. Well, the first snap was about 12:25. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes after we were let into the stadium. They did some practice stuff. They did some one-on-ones. They did a little 7-on-7. But the actual football didn't start until 2.5 hours later. I was feeling very Les Milesian in the time management. Or at least what was passed along to the media. But either way, we did get to see a little bit of scrimmage. And I had some takeaways. I think by now you've probably read up. You've probably seen some videos on social media. So you have a relative idea of what went on. But one of the things that stood out to me early on as they were playing 11-on-11, full contact other than the quarterbacks, was Sage Ryan working at cornerback. He's been basically a nickel and dime player who has spent a little time at safety. And he was out playing on one of the boundaries, playing corner. And we know we've spoken about corner a lot. And we probably won't have a great handle on this thing until you're a couple quarters deep in Orlando. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. But Sage Ryan was out there. And I think there's a piece of that that's depth related. You don't have J.K. Johnson. He's not out there. Denver Harris hadn't been practicing for a week and a half. Like, you just don't really have the numbers there that you figured you may as of a month ago. So Sage Ryan is out there playing some corner. I did think that Zy Alexander had a pretty good day at corner as well. He has long arms, and he's physical enough to play some man coverage and kind of stick with some more physical SEC receivers. That's sometimes going to be your concern when you're dealing with an FCS player transferring up to the SEC. Can they handle it physically? And it looks like he can. I'm not claiming he's a first-team all-league corner or an All-American or first-round pick. That's what we're used to in Baton Rouge. But in the 7-on-7 portion and some of the one-on-ones, he holds his own. And that's probably, right now, your number one corner. Take that for what it's worth. You want to be skeptical of it? I'm fine with that. You want to believe fully that he's going to be a lockdown dude? I'm fine with that too. Like I said, about halftime in Orlando, with those 2 wide receivers on the edge for Florida State and Jordan Travis, we'll have a good handle on what LSU's secondary can do. But I thought those 2 guys stood out. Sage based on the position shift and Zy Alexander based on his level of play. Sage did get hurt. Looked like it was shoulder area, upper arm. We were up in the press box. I don't have binoculars, so couldn't tell for sure, and there's certainly no replay down there. But apparently, based on some initial reporting, it doesn't appear to be too serious. So hopefully Sage is just banged up. 2 weeks from game time. Hopefully he's ready to roll. The other secondary piece, before I get to some other things, was Javian Toviano. And he actually spent a little bit of time at safety on Saturday. I think he's still going to play some nickel. I still think he's going to play some dime, but he spent some time at safety. We know how versatile he's said to be. And the body looks SEC ready. Sometimes corners come in, they're underweight. That's common. He looks healthy and physically ready to play, but it's a moving piece. And I still believe, as we sit here 2 weeks from the kickoff, that LSU's secondary has still got some moving parts. That's evident from what we saw on Saturday. They're just not 100% locked in on what it's going to look like. I think they're still just kind of testing some waters. Now, Saturday was essentially the end of camp. They're off today because it's the first day of school. Got to get there for syllabus day. Sit there for 15 minutes, get the syllabus, and get out of there. But tomorrow, they'll crank things up. And I think tomorrow, you start kind of earnestly preparing for Florida State. Maybe not for the entirety of practice, but some segments, some sections, some periods of practice will be dedicated to Florida State. And I think part of the work on yourself piece of this is they got to figure out who these corners are and who these safeties are and who plays nickel. Do they put 3 safeties out there? Can Sage Ryan play on the boundary? I think they're still looking at some of those things. The biggest highlight level play and plays from the scrimmage actually came from running back. And you saw it if you're a big fan of LSU football because it made the social media rounds quickly on Saturday and Sunday. And that was Kaleb Jackson with his 2 touchdowns. One, a 21-yard run where he made a guy miss in the backfield, got to the corner and powered in, showed some speed, showed some power, showed some agility. The other was the 70-plus yard catch and run on the swing pass where he jukes 2 players, throws a stiff arm down, and then outruns the entire secondary. I think Kaleb Jackson is the only running back on the roster capable of making that second play. Catches the ball, makes 2 guys miss with lateral jukes, stiff arm, outrun the entire secondary. Maybe Emory could do it, maybe. But I think Jackson's the only one that could do it. I was amazed when he got it into full gear at the length of his strides and the fact that he was pulling away from the second team secondary. When we did meet the freshmen back a couple of weeks ago, I gave you Kaleb Jackson as one of those freshmen in this class. And what I said was, this LSU running back room is deep with 8 guys, and I think that it's fine. But if I'm looking for the next Jeremy Hill, the next Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the next Darius Geis, the next Leonard Fournette, Jackson looks to me to have those traits over the other guys. I don't know. He missed his whole senior year with an ankle injury. I can't claim to have tape from 2 years ago that proves to me that he's the best back on the team. But you look at his size when you go out there, and he's a big dude, and you look at the speed when he's running track in high school, and he's running away from the second team secondary down the sideline in Tiger Stadium, and Josh Williams just doesn't have those traits. Noah Cain doesn't have those traits. Logan Diggs is not that big. Jackson, when you're talking about the entirety of the package, has it over the other guys. And that was very much on display. That doesn't mean against Florida State he's going to lead the team in carries with 21 and that I think he's going to run for 1,400 yards. I don't. I think if Josh Williams is healthy, he's in there. I think Logan Diggs is going to get some carries. I think John Emery's maybe slipped back a little bit. But I have hope that Kaleb Jackson emerges late in the season. How many freshman backs have we seen come on as LSU Tigers? I mean, go back to 2011. Kenny Hilliard was a non-factor until the Tennessee game midway. He became the lead back. Of course, the most famous example would be Justin Vincent. He was after a gray shirt year, but he became a star as a freshman when he was a non-factor early. I'm hopeful that's the case with Kaleb Jackson. I don't know if he can pass block. I don't know if he knows the entire playbook. I know he's big, strong, can move. They got to coach him. But it was eye-popping to see those 2 plays. I had like actual reaction in the press box. Whoa. He could really go. So that was exciting to see. And that's a position that I'm hopeful on, but you just gotta wait and see a little bit more. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.